Hello, writers. Come write with me. My name is Michaela Greenwood. I create worlds for mind adventures. Welcome to my channel, Write with Michaela. I'm very excited to have you here on my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell so you can go on this journey with me. Today is story time, or the day of our chapter exchange. Give you a chapter, you give me a chapter. If you're writing with me and you wish to exchange chapters, then send your chapter with written permission to writewithmichaela@gmail.com. I will post the email address at the end of the video and in the description below. I am looking forward to reading your chapters. All chapters or writing prompts read on the channel, whether they are mine or another writer's work, are copyright protected material, and no one may use any part in writing their own stories. This story is PG-13, so if you're under 13 years of age, you need parental guidance. This story is in its rough draft stage, just as the last stories and the writing prompts we've heard. The title of this story is Princess Emnorawyn Stygerguard, and today we're reading chapter 20. If you would like to read along, then send to the email I stated earlier and request the PDF of the chapter. Make sure you are specific. Now let's start. Princess Emnorawyn Stygerguard, Chapter 20. What to do. Sizemore did his best to watch the animal people over his shoulder. He tried to remember his schooling, where he learned about lions, tigers, bears, and gorillas, and he didn't remember learning how fast they could run or how high they could jump. He couldn't help but wonder now if somehow the serum that Kings Zagerman and Balbatos gave them enhanced those abilities. They landed fairly high up on the mountain ridge in the west, and they could see the animal people running across the plains. Soon they saw them quickly climbing up to the ridge. They weren't sure what to do, but with the animal people easily climbing the mountain ridge, they didn't want to go to the refuge and have the animal people climb up there. The commander with them, Commander Fitcherwin, said, "Surely they will become exhausted soon." Sizemore nodded. "Maybe we should fly south and around the refuge." They all agreed and lifted off once more. As they flew, Sizemore asked Princess Emnorawyn if she could think with Prince Hadley while they were flying. When she said yes, he told her to confirm things about the people they had in the balls or the bubbles. Prince Hadley went to his father. His mother was there as well. "What is it, son?" asked King Cronte. "I wish to take our dragons out to scout," Prince Hadley stated. "I want to check on King Japier. I think our enemies found them. Princess Emnorawyn just thought some questions to me." His mother asked him to start at the beginning. He knew, so he did. King Cronte shook his head. I can't just take in all my enemies who aren't affiliated with King Zagerman and Balbatos. Yet those enemies can use any that I don't." He sighed. Queen Lacardie laid her hand on his arm. "Our son asked to scout. He didn't ask to take in people." King Cronte nodded. "Yes, you have permission. Go and bring back word. Or think with me and your mother when you learn." Prince Hadley paused. Princess Emnorawyn thinks with me. I don't know how to open the connection. What your father is telling you is that while you are out scouting, it will be the perfect time to try to learn such a thing. Prince Hadley nodded and headed out. Stygerguard did circle back a few times, and he flew lower and released his breath, but he gained much height before he neared the animal people too much. Having their claws in his flesh once was enough. Commander Fitcherwin watched. He hadn't known about the lightning breath of Stygerguard, but he felt the lightning went much farther than the fire breath of the other dragons. That was something he would add to his report. Finally, it seemed they were pulling away. When they couldn't see the animal people anymore, they landed on the plains in the far south. They would let their dragons rest at least a few minutes. Princess Emnorawyn motioned to the south. "What are those woods there?" Sizemore said, "Ah, I think that is where the explorers went." Then he told them about his schooling, or at least what he remembered. Princess Emnorawyn said, "I want to see the unaltered animals. I want to see what they are supposed to look like and observe how they're supposed to act." "Well, I'm not sure we are as far south as we need to be," stated Sizemore. "I was guessing. But you have our books. When we get to the refuge, you can read about them." "I don't think I got the regular library," replied Princess Emnorawyn. "You may not have, but I got several books myself," replied Sizemore. They decided to fly a little farther south before they arced back up to fly north to the refuge, and they hoped to enter the cave from the back, but they were not sure. Soon Prince Hadley was returning, and each of the 5 dragons had extra riders. He explained to his father how Kings Zagerman and Balbatos had wiped out their lesser enemy, King Japier, and that there were more people there that those king's creatures severely injured. He was going to ask to go get them when he received thoughts from Princess Emnorawyn. She thought to him what happened to the 2 boys, and she brought back in her bubbles. Prince Hadley added that to his story, and then he told his father he would check and see if the people he brought back had also had the serum given to them. King Krunty went with his son. The condition of the people astounded King Krunty when he saw them. Their loose rag clothing was torn to bits. They had deep gashes from where the animal people had clawed them. He briefly wondered why the animal people hadn't eaten them, as his mind flashed through several scenes of the battle he had recently witnessed. They decided that they could not know if these people had also received any serum or not. The best they could do was to patch them up and return them. When Kalaisha learned that the princess and others had returned in a back entrance, she stole away from her parents and snuck through the tunnels to check it out. She found a chamber that held 5 dragons, including the famous Stygerguard. She snuck past the chamber, and shortly she came to the exit. Kalaisha pulled some drawings out of a pocket. She thought some of these traps would be wonderful to place here. She knew that the word was that the traps would take time to make, but she had 20 magical balls from the princess, so she pulled out a couple and sat down. She studied the drawings, and then tried to use the magic to make what she saw. Soon Princess Emnorawyn approached her. "What are you doing?" Kalaisha jumped and turned around. She held up a page. "I'm trying to make a trap." Princess Emnorawyn sat down on the floor in front of Kalaisha. "I see. This is a good idea to protect this end of the cave." Princess Emnorawyn looked at the pages and then closed her eyes to study them in her mind. Sizemore had told Kalaisha how the princess read, so she just went back to looking at the pages with her eyes. When Princess Emnorawyn opened her eyes, she said, "I felt you trying to use the magic I gave you, but the magic was confused, so it asked me what to do. I'm not sure we can make these traps without the needed materials." "Where would we get the materials?" asked Kalaisha. Princess Emnorawyn told Kalaisha that they would look for materials in the morning, but for now, she would have some guards watch the entrance. Kalaisha accepted that. When they walked back to Kalaisha's family, the mother seemed very worried. But she sighed in relief when she saw Kalaisha was with the princess. During the night, 2 more young boys attacked the young girls, and the guards killed them, and the 2 other boys just died. But there didn't seem to be any change in the girls. In the morning, King Rhymes told Princess Emnorawyn, and she told him she thought the enemy may have tried to impregnate the girls. King Rhymes rubbed his eyes with his thumb and his middle finger, and then he pinched the top of his nose. This was just too unbelievable. What would he do if the girls ended up pregnant? He asked the ages of the girls, and they were 14 to 18 years old. The small child was 3. He didn't ask the ages of the 2 women. After Princess Emnorawyn left her father, she went to get Kalacia. They got Stygerguard, and Princess Emnorawyn said a spell over a ball to find materials, just like she had to find the medicine and the poison. Several guards said they would go with her to help carry the things back. The spell first led her back to their kingdom, and they gathered several things, especially some metal bands from barrels and metal from other things. Then they brought the metal back to the refuge, and Princess Emnorawyn said the spell again. Kalacia also said the spell over one of the balls, and both balls led them south. Far south of them were trees, and the trees climbed the mountain face, so the dragons flew up. Princess Emnorawyn sent magic down in the trees to help them locate the materials. That's when she felt the animal people, and she wondered why she would feel them. She sent the magic again and asked if it were the original animals or if it were the animal people. The magic told her both. That raised her curiosity. She thought with Stygerguard to get his opinion. He thought that perhaps when they arced back north, the animal people lost their trail, and perhaps the books her grandfather read really did mean this part of the land. Now Princess Emnorawyn didn't think she should land to retrieve the materials, and she didn't want to head home. If the animal people were looking for her people here, then when they saw her, that would confirm it. But if she headed home, they might start following again. Princess Emnorawyn thought with her grandfather to see what he thought. Sizemore was concerned that she was out so far alone. But then he realized that she said her and some guards were looking for materials. He didn't realize that she had Kalacia with her. He did realize that he always advised his son not to coddle her. And here, that's what he wanted to do. But he advised that when they were in the kingdom, and he didn't know the violence and treachery of the enemy. As he thought, he remembered something about her turning Stygerguard black. So he thought if she could turn all in her party green to blend in with the treetops. After a few minutes, she thought back that she could, and she had. Then he asked if she could see out of a bubble when she was in it, because he felt he could see a little. But she answered that she had put herself in an actual metal bubble, and they hadn't been able to see out, although they could hear. Sizemore confessed that he was curious as to how the animal people would react to the animals, but he didn't feel she should risk her life for that. So she should just head home, and once they left the tops of the trees, she should try to change their color to match the sky and the clouds if she could. Princess Emnorawyn could feel her grandfather's curiosity, and in a way she too wanted to see. But not if the animal people just killed the original animals. She was about to think to the commander of the group when a book dropped down in her hands. She almost dropped the book, but thankfully she caught it. The book fell open in her hands to a passage. She thought to Stygerguard that she wasn't holding on very well. Stygerguard understood. She looked over the page and closed the book. The book disappeared back in the bubble, and she once again held on. She closed her eyes to read the passage, when a gorilla man suddenly jumped up at her and Stygerguard from the top of the trees. Stygerguard swerved, and Princess Emnorawyn's arm went back to hold Kalacia on. "Oh, wow, that was scary," said Kalacia. "They can jump pretty high." Then another one jumped and knocked off a dragon rider. Princess Emnorawyn had just read about a magical net to capture the enemy, but she used it to capture the falling man, and she attached it to his dragon. All the dragons flew a little higher, as many more gorilla men started jumping from the tops of the trees. The commander of the group signaled for them to fly farther south. All dragon riders had many lessons to train to ride a dragon. And one lesson was not to fly too far into an unknown territory, because someone else's kingdom might be there. But they didn't want to leave the animal people to their refuge. Princess Emnorawyn looked back over her shoulder, and it seemed they were pulling away from the animal people, so she turned them blue with white patches. Shortly after, she realized that the clouds stayed fairly still in the sky, although they moved some, so she tried to adjust the spell. So the magical image of the clouds slid along the underside of the dragon's bodies. The commander looked down at his arms and his dragon, and then he signaled for them to circle back to the refuge. He hoped the coloring would be enough. They watched behind themselves, and it didn't seem like the animal people were following, but they would know for sure when they flew out over the plains. As they flew out over the last of the trees, Princess Emnorawyn took a bubble out of a pouch, and she thought to the bubble that she wanted it to hold the images below of the original animals and how the animal people interacted with them. The bubble wanted further instructions. It wanted to know what time frame she wanted the images. She thought 5 days, 2 days before today, and 2 days after. She didn't know if that were possible or not, but the bubble faded from view. They made it back to their refuge without any incident, and Princess Emnorawyn sat down and looked in her mind at the pictures of the traps. She wanted to see if she could come up with some alternative materials. Soon her father and grandfather found her. Her father told Kalaisha to go back to her mother right away, so Kalaisha left. When she was gone, Princess Emnorawyn told her father and grandfather that she could make a magical net to cover the entrance for now. They accepted that before they got the story of the gorilla man knocking a dragon rider from his dragon and flying home in a rope net because they didn't chance stopping. Since they still didn't have all the materials for the traps, they agreed the magical net was the best for now. And King Rhymes assigned a few people to try to find the materials. Then he updated Princess Emnorawyn on the extra people they had. The other 3 boys were dead, 2 they had killed, and the 3rd just died. They now more understood some of what Princess Emnorawyn had told them she had read on the large pages. King Rhymes wished there were a way to tell if the women were pregnant with animals, and if so, perhaps there was some way to undo that, but they didn't have the answer to that. And he was nervous about keeping them. He would speak with his advisors and prophets. Perhaps returning them to their kingdom would be the best, but he didn't know. Okay, writers, that is the end of chapter 20. Leave a comment on Kalaisha always trying to help. Do you know young children or preteens that always want to help and who have ideas of what to do? And sometimes those ideas are really good. Sometimes we dismiss kids, but if we listen, sometimes we take their ideas, or sometimes we modify their ideas, but that juice that they have flowing is really something we need to pay attention to, I think. I think we can always learn from others, and I don't think there's an age limit on what you can learn from. Yeah, if an older person has more life experience, learn from them. That's easy to see. But children have creative minds and creative ideas, and they don't have inhibitions. They don't know that won't work because. So they have ideas, and I think we should listen. So do you know, leave comments, do you know young children or preteens that always want to help and have ideas of what to do? Leave a comment on what type of materials do you think they need to make the traps. You already know they need some metal, right? Because I said that part in the story, in the chapter today. What else do they need? Leave a comment on flying on a dragon in a rope. Well, hanging from the dragon in a rope that's hanging down. Would that be scary? Would that be fun? What do you think that would be? Also comment on the gorilla men jumping out of the treetops to knock the dragon riders off their dragons. Would that be scarier for the dragon riders or for the gorilla men jumping up and then falling back down in the trees? And join me Tuesday for some jargon and a down soldier. Join me Friday for chapter 21, Princess Emnorawyn and Stygerguard. This story has 38 chapters, so we are over halfway through. Visit my website, bymckella.com, read some character bios. If you read some, then leave comments on which ones you have read. All your comments will help us start conversations, build our community, keep all comments respectful. And remember, someone else's perspective can help you with your writing. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe and the bell so we can continue to write together. And other people will have a higher chance of finding this video and this channel, since your likes will push the video out to a greater audience. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate you joining me. I appreciate your participation. If you know someone who would like this video, then please share it with them. This is Michaela with Write with Michaela. Bye for now.